So this is part 2 today. This is actually going to be the first video of topics. I was gonna do one a couple weeks ago on social media, but it wouldn't upload, and I just really didn't want to hassle with it. So I got a topic from my cousin, and she suggested that I do this. So this is a shout out for her. So the topic I'm going to do today is setting boundaries. So now this can be for pretty much anything, but seeing as I've never raised a kid, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot freaking pole. I have, however, raised dogs and horses. So I'm going to touch up on that subject, and if you want to take it and use it for kids, fine. I don't suggest you treat your child like a dog or a horse, because you might get turned into child services, but that is your issue, not mine. So, setting boundaries. So as most of you have seen, I have a puppy. His name is Brody. I gotta show you what he's doing right now. It's too cute. There's my Mr. Brody. Brody. That's my puppy. So, I've been having to set some boundaries with him, like, not going to the bathroom in the house. So, that's been one of my biggest issues with him, is that he goes potty in the house. And, mostly, I guess it should be my fault because I should let him out more often, but at the same time, I have rubbed his nose in it, I've spanked him, I've yelled at him, I have done pretty much anything that I can think of to get him to stop. And, so I finally started setting boundaries with him. So, let's say he goes to the bathroom in the house. Goes potty in the house. Blech, I can't talk today. So the boundary I set for him is on a leash. For 3 days, he does nothing but follows me on a leash. And it's not a punishment. This is your boundary. And when he has to go potty, I take him out. He lets me know when he has to go potty, and we go outside. That is his boundary. His boundary, and he knows that now, that is when he potties in the house. And it's not, like I said, it's not a punishment, because he likes being near me. He likes following me. But that boundary is about this long, and it's, he hits that into that. He wants to go play with the other dog, and he can't, because he hits the end of that leash, and he can't go any farther. That is his boundary. Setting boundaries for horses, it's a different thing. There's a video going around, and it makes me angry, very angry, because this man is letting a colt climb all over him. And I mean, he's climbing. He is on top of him. That makes me so mad. And not because the man is doing something wrong, which he is doing something wrong, but because he is not setting a personal boundary for that horse. Saying, this is my bubble, you need to be out here. You cannot... Horses are dangerous. Colts, full-grown ponies, whatever, are dangerous. They are. And for anybody that doesn't believe me, you're an idiot. I've been riding horses since I was 2 years old. Not once have I ever been kicked by a horse, but I have been bucked off. I have been bitten. I have been stomped on by a horse, never kicked, but I've been stomped on. And it hurts, and they're dangerous, and they can kill you. So allowing a young colt at a young age to crawl all over you and climb on top of you and be on top of you, you're not setting a boundary for that horse, saying this is my area and you need to stay out of it. You need to not be on top of me. That is a boundary. That is the boundary for that horse. And, for Brody, his boundary is about this long on a leash, and he knows that, and he doesn't get he gets about this far away from me, and then he turns around and comes back. And he's learning that his boundary is about this long. That is his boundary. That is setting his boundary. You know, I know I didn't say I wasn't going to go off on kids, but I'm going to kind of say something that, you know, my parents did for me. My parents didn't have a lot of boundaries for me. All they asked from me was to keep my room clean, which most time I really didn't care. Do my homework. Again, most time I didn't. And to all around be a good person. Those are the boundaries. Those are the 3 boundaries my parents had for me. And they weren't rules. They weren't they weren't punishments. They were boundaries. And I overstepped them all the time. Most kids will. Me, however, I did it just because I could. So, you know, I didn't turn out bad, but I didn't turn out all that great either, because I had 3 boundaries. 3. You know, and I'm so grateful for my parents. My childhood, you know, in my eyes, my childhood didn't suck. I loved my childhood. I pretty much got to do whatever the heck I wanted. I got a rodeo. I got to be a rodeo queen. I got to, you know, hang out with friends. I got to see people. I got to go see my grandmother when I wanted to. That was my favorite thing ever, is that I didn't have those boundaries. But, you know, looking back on my past now, I wish that I had some more boundaries, because then maybe I would have not been a failure in high school. And maybe then I wouldn't have been a failure, you know, in my life. And that's how I see it, is I see that I see myself as a failure up until about this year. Or last year. About September last year, I saw myself as a failure. And, you know, when I got my job in Pendleton, I started not to see myself as such a failure. Because without those boundaries without the boundaries, my parents didn't give me those boundaries, I was able to spend time with my grandmother and my aunt at their assisted living home, and I learned so much just by following them around and watching them work and, you know, helping my mom. I learned that because I didn't have those boundaries. I was able to learn. In a different way. And that's what I liked, is that I was able to learn. And, you know, that was amazing for me, because I was able to learn that without those boundaries there. So sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you that I know better than you on how to raise your kids. I'm not going to tell you that I know better than you on training your dog or training your horse. But I am saying that without boundaries, there's some people in the world that they never had any boundaries, and they're not good people either. And I'm not saying that your horse, your dog, your kid, or whatever is going to turn into a bad person just because you don't have boundaries. What I'm saying is that by setting those boundaries, you're teaching them to respect other people and to have respect for themselves and the things around them. And that is important. But again, I'm not an expert. These are my opinions. And you know, I don't want people to get angry because I'm expressing my opinion. But I also am going to say this to you guys. I don't give a flying rat's butt what you think about my opinions. If you agree with them, fine. If you disagree with them, fine. Let me know. I'm more than happy to debate my opinions with you. But if you're not going to say something nice, then stay off of my page. Don't come on it, because I don't want you there. I don't want you saying that I'm saying something wrong by expressing my opinions at all. So if there's something you think or you have to say about this, I dare you to go ahead and say something, because I'm more than happy to discuss with you why my opinions are the way they are, and why I'm expressing them this way. But if you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all. But anyway, that's my topic today, so see you guys later.